So after 1 month and 1 week, or 1 month and 10 days more or less, I finally hit 70, and I did it in such an amazing way. I wanted to do a quest that rewarded spell damage sword that will help me tank like 100 spell damage, and it's a long quest in Shadow Moon Valley where you have to go into the Calabar training grounds and sort of like defeat the demon hunters and kind of figure out what's going on. It's a long quest. You have to do dungeons, you have to kill demons, you have to do all these cool things, and I wanted to do that as part of Key 70. I was just spamming dungeons at the end. But then I just needed a little bit extra, and I came into this quest from Tadel. And you go into this sort of like an Azerotian decaying town, which I found so interesting because I have the theory that these realms in space are connected with the afterlife. It's sort of what the game and the lore in the Burning Crusade is sort of hinting into you. We know that if we go into space, time is not real, time is relative. This is why they say if you go to the moon or to space and then you come back to Earth, time is different for you or and the people who stayed on Earth. So the whole game goes into the caverns of time and how these timelines, you can hop into different timelines and sort of gather everything and shift around everything, just choosing these different timelines. So and they speak about the chaos and everything about this. I might be doing a lore video on the cameras from time thing because I found the concept completely amazing. But what I find interesting is this, for example, here in Netherstone and some of the parts of Aulan, they have this full-fledged demon invasion, and at the same time they have this angelic sort of beings, which are the Naru, which, if you think about it, these are angels, these are beings of light who come from the quote-unquote heavens. But the cool thing about the Burning Crusade is that they managed this whole idea that the sci-fi and outer space is actually connected to this eternal fight between good and evil, between these quote-unquote angels, the Naru, and the demons, the Burning Legion, who are trying to destroy worlds, who are trying to destroy reality itself. So I find all of this amazing. Sadly, the way that people are approaching the game, the whole game, World of Warcraft, is mainly to feel good about their DPS bars and to feel good about their quote-unquote performance in a video game. I think a lot of things went the wrong way in the way that people are looking at these video games, and I think a lot of the anger against the game and a lot of the discomfort that comes from players to these games has to do with the community, with the way that people are approaching the game. I can see the effort put by the original developers into creating this fantasy narrative, which in its origins was to live the fantasy of Tolkien, the fantasy of our ancient mythologies, of going into the cavern of the dragon and slaying the dragon, the medieval epic fantasy that existed for years and years. And before that it was the Greek narrative, and before that there were the sagas, and before that there were all of these narratives who have such an important role in society that people barely understand. And I think modern quote-unquote gamers have taken all of this and thrown it into the trash can, and I think that's a huge mistake, and a lot of the discomfort and a lot of the anger from players, and not feeling what they used to feel, not being able to be surprised by the depth of the narrative that they are presented with, is something that has gotten me thinking. And doing this quest about bringing helping these spirits in this torn down town, which seems to be like a ghost town now, as I'm saying, this connection between the afterlife and outer space, these interdimensions, just reminded me why I played this game in the first place. I've been so busy trying to hit 70, trying to, I bet a lot of people feel this, trying to catch up to these modern meta gamers who are trying to, rush the game and to just spam dungeons. They have all these guides and whatsoever, and I wanted to just spam dungeons, just get 70, just get my Karasan attunement, just get all of that, and I completely forgot why I played these games in the first place and the overall theme of it, which is what made me roll a paladin in the first place? Just understanding the theme of that and just helping these little NPCs get their cows back, or helping them find a relic that they lost, which has a lot of emotional value to them, as they are stuck in this space-time continuum as ethereal forms, in hopes that they will reach the light, that they will understand what's going on. As I try to understand the depths of the reality of the fantasy narrative that I am presented with, which is trying to explain that. And I've realized that this is what the games are trying to do. If you go into the Elder Scrolls, if you go into Classic, if you go into these games, there's always a storyline about a ghost who is searching something, about traveling through dimensions, about reading the Elder Scrolls and just looking into infinity, looking into the void, and time travel, and all of these things, which are actually in the modern research and have created a lot of interest from scientists and philosophers, and this has been forever. So these fantasy narratives approach the topic with such creativity and with such effort to try to understand, and I think we are trashing these fantasy narratives to the ground, just doing all this, making these video games about the mechanics, and you see these mobile games just themed with the medieval fantasy, and they're like, rescue the princess, get the gold, and it's a little stupid game that probably is gonna have you put money into it, where you simply like move things with your finger on your phone screen, but the whole theme is medieval. Why is it medieval? Why? Because the romanticism and the idealism of the medieval fantasy has more to do with the core secrets of who we are as humans, the core secrets of alchemy. And this is what people who knew what they were doing while creating the narratives completely understood. The people who created the Elder Scrolls, the people who created the original, because in World of Warcraft, they don't tell you like an amazing narrative with the text. They try hard. And if you actually read everything, you will find the lore. But they tell you a story with the environment. They tell you a story with the little details around, and the little books that you can click on, and the pile of skulls in that torn down city. And it goes beyond what most people think. Of course, the modern game is trying to do the same. It's trying to explain that with the Shadowlands, and going truly into the Shadowlands and managing the theme of interdimensions and these multiverses, which is a word that is in the game, told by NPCs. And so I just find it amazing that this quest totally reminded me why I do this in the first place. And I've been meaning to make some more videos, but I couldn't find the lore straight away in the Burning Crusade, and I honestly have been lost into trying to catch up, trying to be with the meta, trying to not be so late here in 70, because for me it's very easy to log on one night and spend 3 or 4 hours playing the game and not get any XP, just read the quests and try to get lost and immersed, and I found that is not efficient. But in contrast, that is more important to me, while trying to find all these details and trying to make me think about, the reality and the universe at large, and the Okanai creeps and these Draenei beings, aliens who are spiritually advanced. So for me it was great to see all of this, to remind myself why I do this. And a lot of people might think, well, what the hell is this guy talking about? This is a stupid 15-year-old video game with silly stories of NPCs who want their cow back or something like that. It goes deeper, it goes beyond. It's the theme. On this specific stream, I was completely reminded of why I'm a paladin. And that is because of the theme of the light. And all these themes that I find in fantasy narratives. I truly believe that fantasy narratives are memories. They are not just imagination from someone. If you can imagine something based on the theories of the multiverse, it means that it exists somewhere, somehow. So all of it will be very curious that Tolkien and the developers of World of Warcraft and the developers of the Elder Scrolls and even the developers of Star Wars just conceiving this all-encompassing energy called the Force, the light, and conceiving this evil, the Sith, the dark side, the the demons, the Burning Legion, call it what you ever. It would be Sauron, and even everything, all of it is the same story. And the Greeks were telling the same stories, and the Nords way before in the Iron Age were telling the same stories of an evil trapped, of a hero who is to save the world, of man overcoming its human form and becoming a demigod. This is what the narrative presents, and this is not simple imagination. Just as Carl Jung said, all of these mythologies and all of these fantasies correlate, and in dreams people see the same things. This is why the theories of archetypes emerged. And what do we play in World of Warcraft? We play archetypes. So these fantasy narratives, either consciously or subconsciously, are exploring the theme of death and the theme of the afterlife. Some very straightforward today, as we can see in the Shadowlands, but it is all about this. And I don't think it's fully consciously, because I think the developers try to find these stories about ghosts and the revenants and the werewolves and the vampires in Elder Scrolls and things of that nature. But all of these stories, even before, as I said, they're trying to understand the theme of death. This is the biggest human question. This is the biggest mystery of humanity. We have explored space, we have explored all of these things, but we don't know what lies beyond that. All we have are mythologies, all we have are fantasies, all we have is our imagination, which, as I'm saying, it could be memories. And why do I say that these could be memories? Because, as I often say in my stream, I do research in real life about all these things. When you go into the research, you go into the reports of altered states of consciousness, you find that people are saying things, or talking about memories of outer worlds, of outer lives, of things that we find in our fantasy narrative. So you can see where the elves come, you can see where the dwarves come, where the fairies come, these encounters that people have sometimes with quote-unquote divinity, and so on and so forth. It's literally going into the rabbit hole, literally going into this unknown, what the early occultists and the alchemists were trying to find out, theosophy and all these different philosophies that today we find as silly stories in our video games. This is why I play the fantasy narrative, and I know my content is not gonna be for everyone, and I don't really want to be a content creator. I am just passionate about this topic, and I think that these games could do so much good for people to understand, to try to understand these bigger questions in life. This is why they subconsciously are so attracted to this world of fairies and imagination. And this is the concept of heaven, the concept of this amazing land, this amazing utopia which existed somehow but was corrupted by the Burning Legion, or this dark side, the evil forces that we must counter. It's the same story, and it goes more in depth than people may think. But in any case, I just wanted to point that out, that it is very possible that these fantasy narratives are more than imagination, and it is gonna be the goal of this channel to keep digging into this territory. If you would like to know more about the lore surrounding these fantasy narratives and how they perhaps connect to real life theories and philosophies, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, as I will try to find these connections and explore the possibilities that these lores can provide. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.